Merchant Shipping Act. Merchant Shipping Act with its variations is a stock short title used in Malaysia and the United Kingdom for legislation relating to merchant shipping. Merchant Shipping Acts and regulations also exist as well in other countries, and they are sometimes referred to as Merchant Shipping Acts, such as in Malta, India, Singapore, Kenya, and South Africa. Each country has its specific rules regarding merchant shipping. List. Malaysia. The Merchant Shipping Oil Pollution Act 1994. United Kingdom. The Merchant Shipping Act 1786. The Merchant Shipping Act 1844. The Merchant Shipping Law Amendment Act 1853-16 and 17 Vict C 131. The Merchant Shipping Repeal Act 1854-17 and 18 Vict C 120. The Merchant Shipping Act 1854. The Merchant Shipping Act 1876. The Merchant Shipping Act 1894-57 and 58 Vict C 60. The Merchant Shipping Act 1897-60 and 61 Vict C 59. The Merchant Shipping Exemption from Pilotage Act 1897-60 and 61 Vict C 61. The Merchant Shipping Liability of Shipowners Act 1898-61 and 62 Vict C 14. The Merchant Shipping Mercantile Marine Fund 1898-61 and 62 Vict C 44. The Merchant Shipping Liability of Shipowners and Others Act 1963 and 64 Vict C 32. The Merchant Shipping Act 1906 Edwa 7 C 48. The Merchant Shipping Amendment Act 1920 and 11 GO 5 C 2. The Merchant Shipping Scottish Fishing Boats Act 1920 and 11 GO 5 C 39. The Merchant Shipping Act 1921-11 and 12 GO 5 C 28. The Merchant Shipping Equivalent Provisions Act 1925-15 and 16 GO 5 C 37. The Merchant Shipping International Labor Conventions Act 1925-15 and 16 GO 5 C 42. The Merchant Shipping Safety and Load Line Conventions Act 1932-22 and 23 GO 5 C 9. The Merchant Shipping Carriage of Munitions to Spain Act 1936. The Merchant Shipping Act 1948-11 and 12 GO 6 C 44. The Merchant Shipping Safety Convention Act 1949-12-13 and 14 GO 6 C 43. The Merchant Shipping Act 1950-14 GO 6 C 9. The Merchant Shipping Liability of Shipowners and Others Act 1958-6 and 7 Illies 2 C 62. The Merchant Shipping Act 1964 C 47. The Merchant Shipping Act 1965 C 47. The Merchant Shipping Load Lines Act 1967 C 27. The Fishing Vessels Safety Provisions Act 1970 C 27. The Merchant Shipping Act 1970 C 36. The Merchant Shipping Oil Pollution Act 1971 C 59. The Merchant Shipping Act 1974 C 43. The Merchant Shipping Safety Convention Act 1977 C 24. The Merchant Shipping Act 1979 C 39. The Merchant Shipping Act 1981 C 10. The Merchant Shipping Liner Conferences Act 1982 C 37. The Merchant Shipping Act 1983 C 13. The Merchant Shipping Act 1984 C 5. The Merchant Shipping Act 1985. The Safety at Sea Act 1986 C 23. The Merchant Shipping Act 1988 C 12. The Merchant Shipping Registration, etc. Act 1993 C 22. The Merchant Shipping Salvage and Pollution Act 1994 C 28. The Merchant Shipping Act 1995 C 21. The Merchant Shipping and Maritime Security Act 1997 C-28. The Merchant Shipping Pollution Act 2006 C-8. The Merchant Shipping Acts. Each Merchant Shipping Act defines a collective title beginning Merchant Shipping Acts, including itself and other acts whose short titles include merchant shipping, for example the Merchant Shipping Acts 1894 to 1994. The earliest act included is always the Merchant Shipping Act 1894.